Good morning. Today we'll be discussing the topic impact of disasters. In the previous classes, we discussed about disasters. We tried to give a meaning to disaster. We discussed the different types of disasters. We found what are the causes of disasters, and we also found the significance of disaster management. And in today's class, I will be discussing about the topic, the impact of disasters. Now, before moving on to the topic, impact of disasters, I would like to brief about the disasters that happened in the Indian history. They can be listed out as floods, the floods which affected the states of Kerala, Maharashtra, Uttarakhand, Bihar and Kashmir. We have seen the Kerala floods in the recent years, and it occurred consecutively in the year 2018 and 19. Now we have also seen the recent floods in Maharashtra owing to the heavy rainfall. The Uttarakhand flood happened a long time back, and the impact of disaster can be seen in the death rate. About 5,700 people were reported to be dead in the Uttarakhand flood, which happened in the year 2013. And the causes of the Uttarakhand flood are reported to be heavy rainfall and landslides. The state of Bihar was also affected with flood in the year 2017. About 1,287 people were reported to be dead. In fact, the number is much more above that. The Bihar flood is reported to be the worst flood in the living memory of Bihar, according to the United Nations. The reason why it is said to be the worst ever flood, because in total, a total of 19 districts were devastated by this flood. And the Kashmir flood was affected in the year 2014. In fact, in the month of September, over 550 people were reported to be dead. And the cause of this was the water from the Jhelum river was overflown owing to the heavy torrential rainfall. Now, let me give a few points about the heat wave that happened in Andhra Pradesh in the year 2002. The heat wave was very intense. For the reason we can say that the birds that were flying in the sky were reported to be dead, and they were seen to be on the land. They were simply flying, but what happened was, because of the heat wave, they just got dead, and even the rivers and the ponds got dried up. Thus, the heat wave affected not only the animal life, it also affected the whole human beings. And I hope you all would have a small reminiscence about the Indian Ocean tsunami that happened in the year 2014. And many places in the southern part of India, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Lakshadweep, Indonesia, Sri Lanka were affected. And the origin of tsunami was reported to be in the Sumatra Islands in Indonesia. And the death rate of tsunami is extremely immense. About 2.3 lakh people were reported to be dead. And the magnitude of this tsunami is between 9.1 and 9.3, and it lasted for 10 minutes. And as per the reports, this is the world's third largest reported earthquake. They have also seen so many landslides, drought, and another one is earthquake that was very intense that happened in the district of Latur, Gujarat, the year 2001, and it happened on a Republic Day, January 26th, and the magnitude of this earthquake was reported to be between 7.6 and 7.7, and about 20,000 people were dead. And the other one is the Bengal famine, which happened long back, in fact, during the time of British rule in the year 1770, and millions of people were reported to be dead. I'm sure the last point that is listed out here is pandemics. You all would be very familiar. Only very recently we have seen Nipah in the year 2018, and the district of Calicut was reported as the district of Calicut was reported showing reporting people affected with Nipah, and we all are quite familiar with the virus COVID, and we are going through this difficult phase, and we all really know what are the pain, what are the disaster, how much we are affected, how much the whole community is affected, how much our life is disturbed, how much our social gatherings are affected, how much our schools and colleges are affected. And from all these disasters, you'll be able to categorize by now, you'll be able to list out what are the various impacts of the disaster. Now, about the disasters in Kerala, as I mentioned before, it's a tsunami which affected many parts of southern India, and in the year 2014, the Periman railway tragedy in the year July 1988, certain carriages got derailed in the Periman bridge over the Ashtamudi lake, and this happened near Kollam. The Kadalundi train derailment in the year June 2001. Here 4 carriages of the train got derailed and sunk into the river over the Kadalundi bridge connecting Malappuram and Kozhikode. And the Puttingal temple fire April, which happened only 4 years back, 2016, and this man-made disaster happened at early morning 3:30. As part of the temple festival, fireworks were going. Suddenly, explosion happened, and the impact was so severe, such that almost more than 100 people were reported to be dead, and so many people were reported to be severely burned. The whole temple and 150 houses near the premises of temple got completely devastated. And the Kerala floods 2018-19 would be very clear in our memory, and also the COVID virus in the year 2020. Now the next slide is about the disaster frequency. I hope you would all gone through this particular reference that I given you, and it's very alarming to see that the frequency of disaster is on the rise. Now, how does it affect all of us? What are the cost of disasters? What are its impact? We can see that human cost is the first one. It affects all of us, the whole of the mankind, and it affects both directly and indirectly. And by more going into the deeper part of it, we can see how it affects each one of us individually, and how does it affect the community, what are the economic costs because of that, and how does it affects our environment. Now the first point, the human cost, we can again split up into the impact of the disaster. I tried to give the number of death rates owing to the different disasters. Death will be there will be injury, there will be illness, and because of all that, people would be lost in grief. Now, a lot of money, economy should be kept aside for the medical part, for the public health, the sanitation elements should be given lot of importance, because owing to the disaster, the sanitation facilities would be disturbed. They would have to be reset once again. Now, how does it affect our shelter, clothing, how the food production is disturbed, and how about the energy supplies? By energy supplies, I mean the supply of fuels in the form of electricity, in the form of cooking gas, etc. And the economy should be kept aside for search and rescue purpose. Now, our road, our bridges, all will be devastated. So a lot of public works and engineering needs to be undertaken. Now, right now we have seen how much people have been transported from one state to another, particularly in the northern part of India. So a lot of amount should be kept aside for logistics and transport. Now, security should be assured. The communication system should be re-established. And how should we continue our education? How should we pursue education to humankind? And how about our economy? Now, the individual cost, it affects us individually. It affects us physically, mentally, and emotionally. It causes a lot of property loss, financial loss. It leads to massive population migration, especially in lesser developed countries. And the post-traumatic stress, the people who are affected by the disaster would be gone through a very bad experience, and that will be haunting the people again and again. Now they will be and leading the people to be away from social gatherings, away from happiness, and ultimately there are chances for people to be in a state of depression. For the time being, I'm stopping here, and I will be continuing with the next presentation. Thank you.